Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome back to a new video. So the number one question I've been getting lately is, with all my videos talking about markups going away and add-ons being gone and dealers coming off of add-ons, being more pliable, massive amounts of inventory out there and sitting on the dealerships, taking 200-300 days to sell, and even still just simply not selling, not going anywhere, makes the obvious question come forth in my direct messages on Instagram, which is, with all that information, should I buy now? Is it time for me to finally pull the trigger? You did everything right. You waited through all the stupidity. You didn't fall for the markups, didn't fall for the add-ons, didn't get sucked into any of the baloney, didn't fall for the, this car is going to go up in value and be worth Bugatti prices later on. You stayed strong, and now here we are, and you're saying, I waited. Now can I go get my reward? And I'm here to tell you and give you, real quick, 5 reasons why I believe most people should not buy one of these cars right now. And the first reason is the most obvious reason, which is interest rates. Interest rates are astronomical. The biggest challenge with that is that you're going to pay more money for a car, and the only way you should buy a car right now is if you can get a super low incentivized interest rate from either your bank, your credit union, or even the manufacturer, from the dealership. So let's say, for example, Chrysler, which is now Stellantis Financial, if they're willing to give you a 2% or 2.9% or a 1% rate to buy one of these cars, then you're one step closer to buying it. There are a few other reasons and things you need to deal with before you agree to that, but that would be the first step. If they have incentivized rates for you to buy a car right now, let's say it's your Scat Pack or your Hellcat that's been sitting there for 300 days and you know that the price is going to get better, you can get it at an incentivized interest rate at 2.9%, for example. If Dodge would offer that, which I don't think they are on those cars, then I would do it. Otherwise, don't do it. For that reason alone, I wouldn't do it. I'd wait till rates straighten out, or, which is my number 2 point, prices straighten out. And what I mean by that is, right now, every single Stellantis product, and frankly, most cars on the market right now, are way overpriced, especially Stellantis products. They had risen prices so much over this last 3, 4, 5 years that at this point you're paying 30% more for a Charger or a Challenger Scat Pack than you were just a few years ago. And for that reason, I will tell you, wait. Do not buy at those prices. But what price should you buy at? If you can get the right interest rate, and if you can get the price at, let's say, 15 to 20%. Yes, you heard me right. 15 to 20%. I used to say 10, but at this point, with as much inventory as out there, as much challenges that people are dealing with, and the average interest rate out there, and assuming you have perfect credit, you'll get the good interest rate. But if you don't, if you're not golden, you're going to be bounced up to the 7, 8, 9, 10, who knows. You have bad credit, you're going 18, 20% interest rate, and you're going to be so priced out of that car, paying a payment that's going to have you in extreme pain every single month trying to keep that thing going, that the only way, again, remember, you get the great interest rate, that's, check that box. 2, you get a price on the car that is equivalent to 15 to 20% less than MSRP, meaning there cannot be add-ons, there cannot be $400 in nitro fill, there cannot be $350 in lug nuts. You've got to say, bottom line is, a good example is a $57,000 car should go for $48,000 or $49,000. So think of it like this: a 2023 last call Scat Pack standard body, MSRP's, let's say around $57,000. That car should not be more than $48,000, $49,000. And many are going to say it shouldn't be more than $40,000. I agree, because I remember buying my 2022, I think it was 2022, or was it 2021, whatever it was, in the low, or geez, like low 50s. So at this point, they're asking $57,000. This is a $48,000 car, and mine was a wide body. So this is a standard body. It needs to be in the 40s. It probably needs to be around $45,000. But let's just be realistic. You get the great interest rate if you can. The credit union, you got the golden credit, you can get the super low rate and great term, and you can get the price for 10 to upwards of 15% off of MSRP, then you're on your way to making a deal. But now let's talk about the next issue. Prices are still falling, so you're catching a falling knife. So why would you buy a car right now knowing that In a few months from now, and I've been right about this from the beginning, in a few months from now, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, a year from now, whatever it is, some of these cars will still be sitting there, and they will be significantly less. They will be dropped down to 10, 15, or 20% less, and you will be able to go buy used models with very few miles, still under warranty, for a hell of a lot less money. There's no way around it. Prices are still falling, so you're still catching that falling knife. Why do I believe that? Because as long as interest rates are what they are, and certain economic circumstances exist, that's going to keep happening. We'll talk about that more in a second. And the next issue is your trade is worth less today than it was 6 months ago, a year from now, or closer to when you bought it. So no matter what it is, it doesn't matter what year it is, your trade is worth less money because cars depreciate. There's no way around that. Despite what the dealers would want you to believe, these cars, I'm sitting in a Lamborghini right now, but you know I'm talking about my Dodge Challenger, these cars go down in value like any car in the world does. They've been depreciating, and that normal depreciation has led to a place to where, depending on what interest rate you have and what term you have on that loan, you might be upside down. But let's say you don't have a loan on that car at all, it doesn't matter. You're going to get a crappy price for that car. With that said, it's going to get crappier because as the economy continues down the path it's on and more cars come on the market, we'll talk about that more in a second, and new cars come down in price, you're going to experience the same parallel drop in prices on your used car, which means trade-in values are going to be less, or selling private party in the secondary market, it's going to keep going down. So the best scenario I can tell you is if you could sell your Scat or RT or SXT or whatever it is, sell it today and not buy another car. If you have another car you can drive, let's say your Hellcat was your pleasure vehicle, or your Scat Pack was your pleasure vehicle, and you want a newer one, or you want a Red Eye, or you want a Demon, or whatever the hell you want, sell your Hellcat or Scat Pack, and then sit on that money. Get out from underneath it before it goes down even further in value, and then wait. But right now, if you buy high, sell low, which is what the dealers are trying to do. Watch some of my other videos when I took my Swinger to that dealership out in the Inland Empire out here in California, and he lowballed me on my car and highballed me on his car, and when I told him no, I wouldn't pay a markup, he came back and said, well, if you pay the markup, we'll give you more for your car. Well, of course you will. It's all fake. It's all funny money. You want a $100,000 markup on a Red Eye, and you're going to give me 60 grand for my Swinger when it's worth 45 grand? Come on, give me a break. Bottom line is, my car, like everybody's car, is going to continue to go down in value, which leads me to the next point, which is delinquencies are increasing. Go read every article out there. People are starting to default on their car payments, slow pay. I've got people messaging me, they're 3-4 months behind on their payments, and the bank hasn't even called them yet. They have not heard from their bank yet. They're confused. They're like, I'm ready to give my car back, and they're not coming to get it. And here's why. Because they are getting flooded with repos. They're getting flooded with delinquencies, and what they do, let me explain this. I'm sure many of you already understand this, but the banks like to control the inventory, because taking all of the inventory back as soon as they possibly could from the buyers, for example, or the customers, would mean a flood of inventory on the market and a flood of inventory going to the auctions, and that's never good for pricing. So what the banks will do is they'll go through tranches of people behind on their car payments and then repo in waves. And as they repo in waves, these cars will be sent out. The longer you have the car, the assumption is that you're driving it and you're at least taking care of it, and it's not on the market for sale, and then they will ultimately get to you, meaning there may be, and as this continues, there may be a pretty high influx of repos coming to the market throughout the rest of this year and going into next year. And as long as rates continue to be high, people have no way out and no way to refinance those cars to lower interest rates, which means there will be more repos, which will affect prices on your trade-in, and it'll affect prices on all the used cars on the marketplace, and it will pull people away from the new cars, saying, we're not going to buy that if we can get this thing for so much cheaper. So there's an opportunity for you, if you're going to buy, to simply wait out and let all this inventory come onto the market and watch the prices fall like rocks, and you're going to get some deals. You can argue with me in the comments all you want. Golly, some of you really do, and I don't know if you're sitting there, I don't know what you could possibly be thinking when you're defending some of these statements you put in the comment section, but these Hellcats and Scat Packs are not collector's items. The Demon's not a collector's item to the extent that these people believe that it is. they're not going to go up in value. They're going to continue to go down in value. And right now in this economy, when people are paying too much money for gas, too much money for eggs, too much money for interest rates, too much money for rent, too much money for their house, too much money for everything, and their incomes are down, most of the people messaging me about these challenges they're going through are saying they have experienced an income drop, a significant income drop, and they cannot afford the car anymore. So that's happening along with increased prices, forcing more cars back into the secondary market via the repo funnel, and that's going to drop prices. So you don't need to buy right now. So unless you are, hopefully none of you have this, a terminal disease, if you don't buy it now, you'll never get to experience, then wait. Just wait. Sit back and let these dealers choke on their inventory. And I would say, I'm sorry for saying this, dealers, but I'm not sorry. You deserve every bit of this. So bottom line is, let them sit on that inventory. Do the math on your calculator. It's really simple. Don't make it more complicated than it is. If they're asking $57,000, times that by 85%. That'll tell you what you should pay for that car. I will tell you, I would even go to 20%. I think if you're a gladiator negotiator.
You like movies about gladiators?
If you find a car that sat on the market too long, you did the research on Car Gurus, you found out the car's been sitting there for 365 days, and you know this dealer's like struggling because they got 5 or 6 of them out there, and they're Scat Pack standard bodies or something like that. Bottom line is, you could probably hit them at 20% below, which is you take the $57,000, you times it by 80%. That's going to tell you what you should pay for that car. And in my personal opinion, very experienced in owning 8 of these cars just in the last like 5-6 years, and over 50 cars in my life, today you're looking at way overpriced cars, way too high of interest rates, ridiculous inflation, a massive influx of repos, and all kinds of other outside influences that are going to force this market into offering you a great deal and potentially later on at an even better interest rate. But take this time right now. If your credit isn't perfect, if your income isn't perfect, don't put yourself out there a little bit. Don't stick your neck out. Focus on getting your finances in order. Get your credit cleaned up. Get your credit cards paid off. Pay off any high interest debt. Start saving money in your bank account. Right now, Wells Fargo sent me an email yesterday saying they will give me 4.75% on a CD for 6 months. That's an APR, so an annual percentage yield I would get on a minimum of $5,000 I could put in there and literally let it sit there for a year. They're going to give me, you know, what, $600 or whatever the hell it is, and I'm good. So I'm literally thinking, well, geez, I got $100,000 sitting in an account. I can drop it into a CD, wait a year, and go ahead and make almost $5,000 of that money. It's doing nothing for me where it is right now. Go put your money somewhere else, let it grow, and sit and wait till the opportunity comes up, and then you can pull that money out and go buy that car. For all of you, you love the flex. Cash buyers out there, everything applies to you too, because whether you're paying cash or you're paying with a loan, bottom line is if you're paying cash, you're putting cash into the worst appreciating asset, meaning if you spend $57,000 on a car right now and you paid cash, you have no interest. Bottom line is, as soon as you drive that thing off, it's worth $46,000, $47,000. You might as well take in that cash and burned it. The bottom line is, paying cash for a car makes absolutely no sense when you can take that cash and put that cash in the bank, borrow the money at 4% interest, do a 100% loan if you've got great credit. Because if you've got all that cash, you've got great credit. You can go to Wells Fargo, drop, let's say, $50,000 into that bank account or into that CD, and wait a year, and you're looking at getting like, what, $2,300 on that money, and then taking the 3 or 4% interest rate from your credit union because you got such great credit, and you're only paying 1 or 2% interest on that money. Why in the hell wouldn't you do that and keep your cash where it's nice and safe and you can get to it if the zombies come? If the world comes to an end and you just need to say, screw it, I'm not paying this thing, I'm taking my cash, I'm going to Fiji, and I'm going to just ride out the rest of my life. It just seems like common sense to me, but I always have to argue with people in the comments. So with that, everybody, hope you enjoyed today's video. Hope this helps. Just wait, take your time. Unless you can get these things lined up, don't buy. Sit back, let the dealers choke on their inventory. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.